Welcome to Live with Greg, or Live with Greg, depending on semantics.
Alright, so no dinky dink. You ready?
What's that mean?
That means no fooling around.
Okay, go.
Alright, welcome to Live with Greg. I don't know what episode this is, but it's here with Robyn Bri.
That seems to be an opening line for many of these things you do.
Yeah, that's pretty much my opening.
Okay. Should I look into the camera?
Sure, or you could look at me.
What's more comfortable for the audience?
Me.
Okay.
Alright. So, what do you think of children 2 years old questioning their sexuality, their gender?
It's their life. It's who they are, so they...
How does a 2-year-old question?
I don't know, but in one of the classes I took, they said that children as young as 2 years old can... It's really weird not to look at the camera.
Well, then look in the camera.
No, that's uncomfortable.
Well, then don't look in the camera.
Children as young as 2 years old can already feel that they are not comfortable with their gender. And there's a child who goes to a school near here, and I noticed her when she was like probably in preschool, and she was wearing like dresses and all that stuff, and I just assumed she was a girl, and then I heard someone say, oh no, actually her born gender was a boy. And then like last year someone was like, oh yeah, now like she changed her name, like she's a she, like she has a new identity, like a new name.
And how old is she?
She's in first grade.
In first grade.
So she's 7. And she has a younger brother who like still identifies as a boy, but has an older sibling who wears dresses, so he also wears dresses. But he will also sometimes wear clothes that you're more custom, that you usually see more boys wear, like jeans and a Spider-Man t-shirt.
Well, that sounds like Jonah when he was younger and he wore dresses, and then he shaved his head and stopped wearing dresses.
Yeah. And who knows? You can change many times.
Do you have any like personal questions about gender fluidity?
Personal questions?
Yeah, like is it something you're wondering about, and do you have questions about the legitimacy of it?
No, you can do what you want. Like, it's only hard for me is like if I'm in class and like I had to take a TGI Diverse Society class, and I was talking about, I was like sharing like this experience, and we can't say names, so I had to use the pronouns, otherwise it doesn't really make sense if you tell a story. And so they identify as they, them, and when I was telling the story, it was very difficult because I was like, them, they went like, wait, so them went to the store. They went to the store. I got in discussion with Bodie because you identify as they, them. So, and this is really stupid, and like obviously I know this is like joking around. Not that you can joke about any pronouns. She, he, they, them, he, her, whatever, any pronouns. You can joke around with them. So, but I was like, well, if I call someone, if they identify as they, them, then she was like, well, grammatically you say like they go to the store. I'm like, well, why can't I say them go to the store? It's still the correct, I don't know, super stupid. Never mind, there's no point to that. I don't know.
It was a funny joke.
It was good in the moment. my Bodhi takes it very, I mean, I think I take it seriously too, but I don't have any friends that identify as they, them. So it's not part of my inner circle. So I'm not fluid in it per se, whereas Bodhi is. And so I was like, and now, I mean, this has been maybe like almost a year now, and now I'm like, okay, like, respect it, let it go. But like, she has a friend who identifies as they, them, and they are dating a girl. So I was just wondering if they were gay or straight. And Bodhi was like, well, what does it matter? I was like, because I want to know. It matters to me. And then I was like, well, what was their born gender? What does the doctor? And she's like, what does it matter? They're they, them. And I was like, well, like, can you show me a picture? No, because then you'll come to your own conclusions, and that's not fair. I was like, oh my God. Okay. Whereas it, for me, I'd be like, oh, like, that's, you're curious, you want to know. Like, born gender was a girl. And that's, like, you're curious, I get it. But I could be very sexist right now. People could give me a lot of hate for this information because I'm not using any correct terminology per se.
What do you think about that?
People can be haters.
But I heard you say like a year ago it was really more confusing for you, and now you're more, it's just a part of your life. It's like, oh yeah, there's they, them, and it's not a big deal.
Yeah, and it never was a big deal. I was just like, okay, so like I just wanted to know more. I was just like curious. Like I was just like, okay, they're they, them, but what was their born gender? Like, just, I'm curious to know how many women changed their pronouns versus men, or how many men changed their pronouns.
But doesn't that get into sort of a weird area? Because I've heard an interview with a psychiatrist that was super into it, and she said that the suicide rate of people in their 20s, if they've changed gender, like gone through the surgeries to change gender, is high, and it's gone up in the past few years since it's become more prominent.
Yeah, I don't understand.
So this
kids who don't get a sex change.
No, kids who do get a sex change in their teens, like especially early teens,
commit suicide in their 20s.
Right. And that the rate of suicide has gone up when you're studying children to teen to young adults.
So potentially we should not allow kids to have a sex change until they're 18, they're adult.
That was her argument.
I mean, yeah, I mean, you can't really do much until you're, 18, then 21. But then there's like the whole thing, well, if they don't feel like they're a girl or a boy anymore, then why should we deny them the ability to change their sex? But also, the people who identify as they, them are in the middle. They don't, most likely, I don't know if they want a sex change. I think they're comfortable with who they are.
Their body as it is.
But they're in the middle.
And then you have this young girl who you said's in first grade now, who's been identifying as a girl from as long as you've been aware of this individual, right?
Yeah, and even like I was just talking to your sister when we were talking about like the hotels or whatever, and she said that kid that she loves so much, who she like,
it's
I don't know his pronouns per se, but his her I think.
Yeah.
Well, it was
Carlos.
Was Carlos.
Maybe I shouldn't say Carlos, but now her name
is no longer Carlos.
Right.
Estella I don't know.
Is she going to be down there next weekend?
In a remote location where no one can find.
What does that mean?
So people don't stalk you.
This is going live after the memorial. People don't stalk me. They'd have to have an audience for it to be a stalker involved.
You never know.
That's true. Trolls come out at night.
Well, like, people will find stuff from like 5 years ago that it's like, but I don't, I mean, you can go, if you dig, you can dig deep.
Yeah. I've got my closet, my skeletons in the closet. So, have you ever questioned your sexuality?
No. I've been very comfortable with my sexuality.
Have you been comfortable with your body?
Yes.
Really?
I mean, I guess I think I'm fat sometimes. But that's a different topic. I don't think that goes on the sense of your body per se.
Not the gender of it.
Yeah,
but
exactly.
the shape of it.
Yeah.
You're not happy with the shape of your body.
Sometimes.
Are you happy with it right now?
It is what it is. Just have to work out more. Start smoking cigarettes again and
No.
live off of air because, as people say, you can't do that.
Yeah, and then you find out they're eating junk food at 2 in the morning.
Well, I'm asleep then, so I don't have to worry about that.
That's not the point. The point is there are no breatharians. That's the point.
How do you know?
Because I went around the whole world interviewing every single person and found out there are no breatharians.
Do you have evidence for that?
Yep.
I'd
And let
like
me
to see
give you
it.
my documented paper that I turned in.
I'd like to see it.
I'm going to show it to you. It's right there in front of you. There it is.
These are my notes for this topic.
And you've never had any friends in your circle that have been gender fluid?
Like bi?
No, like where their gender was fluid, where they were like either not identifying.
Yes. But like, I guess. I mean, the pronoun thing, they, them, maybe I have, but it's not like a big, like, I don't know, okay.
When you say
They, them.
maybe you have, are you thinking like maybe in high school there was someone who would hang out now and then?
No, like when I lived in, when I was in Madrid,
Oh, really?
I had like one friend who maybe identified as they, them. But like, if that was the case, I think she did, because there was the whole thing about Spanish and how we don't have they don't have, like, there's no pronouns in a sense, so it's just easier to be like she, her. Now they have like Latin X, but like, it's still like, no, like you wouldn't, like, you would, like, they still have A or O, and A is feminine and O is masculine, so like, it's difficult, but maybe because we met in that situation, I just kind of like, I was like, oh, okay, yeah.
Well, was she Hermano or Hermana?
A.
She was Hermana.
She was a girl.
Right. And so you just...
Except for that she was a girl. But then there's like the whole bi thing. But like, it's like, you tell me you're bi. Okay, you're bi. But then like, all you ever talk are your ex-boyfriends. It doesn't sound like you've ever had an ex-girl.
Right,
Like,
right.
But that's like, not like talking about two people, and I don't know, yeah.
Well, it could be just like the sexual titillation. It can go male or female, either one, but if they're in a long-term relationship to date, they just have dated men.
Yeah. Yeah.
But if it comes to just jumping into bed with someone, they're like, could be either male or female.
Yeah. Who knows?
Did you speak Spanish with the person?
No.
They spoke English?
Yeah.
Were they from Spain?
No.
Were they an au pair for another family? Did you meet them at the school?
Yeah. I think we had class together. That's how we met. I forget. I don't know how. I think so.
Are you still in touch with the person?
Kind of, I guess.
Every now and then you guys ping each other?
So, yeah. But I think my sister would have a lot to say on this topic, and she would have more.
Well, I've been very surprised by, like, in helping you with your homework, how much is involved with what you're learning to be a teacher, to be very proactive with supporting all the different things that are going on in our society with relationships and families and gender and race. Do you think, like, sexuality, it's too, like, do you think there's that it's inappropriate for preschool and kindergarten, like, to even be a part of that?
I don't think so. I don't think you need to, like, I think it should be available for the kids, like in like books that we have displayed or activities and like songs that we sing. I think it should be all, you know, it should be like it's a community where we embrace all cultures, beliefs, values, and it's a family driven curriculum, like a cultural driven curriculum. But I don't think you need to like be like, okay kids, today, you know, like they should be playing and learning through play and through like, but if they're interested in something, then you can go off, you know, talk about it. And like you'll be surprised like how many books just have like what we call like tokenism. So like you look at a book and it's like, okay, all these, like the other day I was looking at this book that they had in class and my teacher just wanted me to notice that they only had one kid in a wheelchair in the whole entire book, and it was on one page. I was like, okay, yeah. But then also if you look at it, okay, they have different colored, like different skin colored kids in the book, but all the girls had eyelashes and the boys didn't. Drawn on.
Right.
So that's tokenism, because boys have eyelashes too.
Right.
And so obviously, like, if you're gonna, I mean, if you look at all the books, we're gonna have to get, there's hardly any that would qualify, meet all the criteria. So like, you have to pick and choose. You know, you can't, not everyone is perfect. But I think they do this new like thing in schools that they like brought back just because of like what's going on in the world with like the whole Black movement protests, and they realize that kids need to be educated younger, like they need to understand. And it's like where you do a self-portrait and you look at your skin color, you look at your eye colors, you look how you have different colored skin, like, you know, here I have darker skin, then here I have lighter skin color, and just like recognizing that, because being colorblind is actually harmful. So we need to recognize our differences and embrace them. We can't shy away from it or be scared, because that causes conflict and that can lead to negative things.
Yeah, that's interesting, because the word difference has a negative connotation for me as a knee-jerk response to that word. Like, you're different than me in my bones, like my knee-jerk reaction to that is it's not a compliment. And what I hear you saying is we really need to change that for people so that it is complimentary. It's just a fact.
Yeah, because we all are different.
Right.
You will never, I mean, like inside, and I mean, we're all the same in the inside. We have, like, in terms of organs, we all have a heart, we all have a brain, we all have lungs. Like, we all have organs, so we're all the same on the inside, but we're all, in terms of organs, there's also like a lot on the inside that makes us different.
Do you think that the negative connotation of difference derived from slavery and racism and creating systems like our education system and our governmental system where people were taught difference is negative, and that way you can dehumanize people?
Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, you're different. I'm this, so you're different. That's how you, I mean, categorize people.
Right. So what excites you about being a teacher this year? Because you're actually working with kids now.
I like being able to be with the kids. Like, I really like to like be with like a group of kids and like interact with them. And I mean, I still have a lot to learn, and even though I've taken a lot of classes already and I know a lot already, there's still a lot to learn and also develop what I have already learned even more. But it's really cool to be able to implement what I have been learning into my teaching. Who was it?
I don't know. One more, please. Should we pause? Because you've been working with children a long time. You know, You've been babysitting since you're 23 now, and you've been
I'm
24 now. And you've been babysitting since you were what, 11?
12.
12? That's like over 10 years. All right, so you have a lot of experience with children. You were an au pair in Madrid, right? What are you learning now that is... I don't know if surprising's the right word, but do you know what I mean? Like, you have over a decade of experience with kids. What's like really hitting you deeply with what you're learning now?
Well, I mean, all the classes I'm taking are really interesting to learn, like just for myself personally too, like in my, my outside life, like outside of school. But I think it's really interesting, like how kids take on so much, like even from the time they're conceived until the time you die, you're taking on a lot. And kids at a young age are even more like resilient or more emotional, and they have so much that they take on so much, but usually you don't realize those things until they're older and they start becoming more expressive. But even at a young age, there's this kid I know who blinks a lot, like this. And, that the doctor said that that's a form of him releasing his anxiety. And he's 2. So even at a young age, these kids they take in a lot. And I really want to be able to like take these classes so that I can like learn how to help children, so that they to help them and help them grow so that they are happy. So that they can just make a difference, just try and make a difference, so that if they can grow up to be, live a life that they want to live. I won't say rescue because that's really bad terms, but like not the like, just to help them, I guess. Yeah. Support them.
Is there anything else that you want to say?
I think everyone before you become a parent should take one of these classes, or like 2 classes. I was thinking they should be mandatory to take one of these classes in high school, because that's a way to get kids to, but I don't know, also like you can't force someone to take a class because they could walk out knowing nothing because they're not ready. Like, you can, if I don't care about a class, I'll maybe retain some information, but for the majority, I'm just gonna cheat and try and get through it.
I think that would be a very healthy thing, though, if they had one of these classes was mandatory for at least a semester.
Yeah, exactly. Because I think we have I definitely took like sex education, but I don't remember I think I took it. It was like part of like social issues. It was like semester, but I think yes, sex education is obviously something that's wise to teach, but I think if you took one of these classes, it might have a more bigger impact, because you actually see like the emotional element to it, whereas sex education is just like, oh, here's how you get pregnant, here's how you don't get pregnant. Either way, you have a kid, you don't have a kid. But like if you take the child and you put like emotional toward, like, okay.
Or even to the student, like did they talk about the emotional elements of sex?
No, I don't think so.
It was more just physical, like here's how you put on a condom, here's how you use an IUD.
Yeah.
Women bleed, men get erections.
I don't even know if it was that.
Did you learn anything from those classes that you have been useful for you in your life?
No, I don't remember. I don't really remember taking it. I mean, I knew it was like yeah. Yeah, I don't know.
Anything else?
Children are really amazing. This one person I know said yesterday, waterfalls are not perfect, but they still flow, or they
keep going.
They keep going.
Yeah, she wanted her emblem to be a waterfall.
Yeah.
Because waterfalls aren't perfect, but they keep going.
Yeah.
That's pretty damn amazing.
And that's why I love kids. Just because they're dreaming. I mean, they see the world. Like, they haven't been corrupted. Okay, finished, done. Bye.
Bye, love you.